All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started on this Kickstart Monday. And what we're looking at is we're putting together a 6-week Kickstart program. And what we're doing is I'm going to be doing meal prep Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's our goal. And we start out with, any plan can work, right? Well, what we're looking to do is give an idea of how you can adjust any kind of plan to make it work all right. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Good. Cool. So when we do this, if you want this plan, you can just go ahead and message me, and I'll get you I'll get you the menu. The great thing about this is it's not restrictive, but just some ideas. There's even a grocery list in here to use. There's even a grocery list. All right. And so we're going to go with that. And that's what we're going to do. So today we're going to be making some meals. We're going to do on the menu today is a turkey cauliflower stir fry and turkey stuffed bell peppers. Now, the shopping list is here. I went to Aldi's. Now, a lot of things that we have are already in my pantry. So we're going to kind of go with what we already have. All right. But that's how this is going to play out. Now, in the preparation, one of the things that a lot of people don't know is it's good to have good tools and sharp tools. So I'm going to go ahead and sharpen my knives here. And one of the things that why we're even doing this is because for myself, I have been fat, sick, and nearly dead. And if you look at this, this is me. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm proof that I used to laugh about myself, but yeah, I've been fat, sick, and nearly dead. And so we'll talk about that and part of my discovery over the last couple decades. And by the way, I'm 73, so that should explain a little bit. But we're going to have some fun. Now, I love to cook, and in a previous residence, I had a gas kitchen and an electric kitchen, and because I just love to cook. And so we're going to play with things like that, how I like to adjust things. Now, I'll pretty much eat anything except slimy okra. Does that make sense? I know. I don't like slimy okra. I don't know anybody that does. So we'll just go with that, right? And let me get right over here and touch that. All right, there we go. Okay, so we got our knife sharp. And we've got that. We'll get this out of the way. Now, the stir fry recipe calls for turkey. And I happen to not like ground turkey. To me, you may like it. Now, here's the deal. Recipes are suggestions. This isn't baking. Baking, you follow recipes. Recipes require science. You have to measure this precisely with this precise with this precise. Cooking, recipes are suggestions. So let's have some fun with these things, okay? So this calls for ground turkey, cauliflower rice, chopped bell peppers, snap peas. Then it asks for low sodium, soy sauce, ginger, minced garlic, olive oil, and salt and pepper. Now I'm going to modify this recipe to fit how I like it, okay? And what I have in the fridge in the pantry. So we're going to talk about that. So the first ingredient in here calls for ground turkey. Now I don't like ground turkey. Ground turkey to me is like styrofoam. So I have some leftover steak from grilling the other night. And so we're going to make this a beef stir fry. I'm still going to use the cauliflower rice. I'm going to add some mushrooms. I'm going to add some other ingredients to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and start chopping this up. And you can see it's really nice and lean. But not really lean. It's got some nice fat into it, some nice marbling. And this was a steak that I grilled. And again, I didn't use any kind of sauce. that would have any kind of seasoning that would have sugar in it, or any fake sugars. There's 260 some names of sugars out there. So this is going to be a beef stir fry. Again, I'm using a steak that I had grilled just yesterday, which would have been Sunday night. And it was a great little meal, but this is leftover. I have some wonderful sauteed mushrooms, portobellos I did as well. I love cooking on the grill. When I do the portobellos on the grill, I do it in a cast iron on the side burner. And when you do mushrooms, guys, one of the secrets of doing mushrooms, when you cook mushrooms, don't put them in a pan with oil. Put the mushrooms in the pan and let them begin, just a hot pan, get them in there, and let them do the sweating first. Let them get sweating. And what's sweating? They release a lot of moisture. Mushrooms have a lot of moisture. So you see how nice these chunks are? These nice little chunks there, see that? So this is going to be there, and I'm putting it on a paper plate because that's what I'm going to use just to get it out of the way. So you can see they've got this all nice. Look how tender and nice this is. Now, if you don't like beef, the recipe calls for ground turkey. Use ground turkey. If you like ground turkey, do. If you like ground chicken, ground chicken. I was thinking about using lamb. Originally, I had written down I was going to use lamb because I really like lamb, but I'm going to go with the beef. Okay, everybody's good with that? Perfect. So we're going to set that off to the side. And I'm going to rinse off my knife because we use the same knife here in a minute to do some of the vegetables. So I like to do all the prep. Let's always do the prep in advance. So let's look at what the next part of the recipe calls for. Well, the next part of the recipe said, okay, they want you to have all the vegetables there. So we're going to use a cauliflower rice. Now, you can buy cauliflower rice or you can make cauliflower rice. Now, the one thing about it, though, if you're going to buy cauliflower rice in prepackaged, make sure, and we're going to talk a lot about this, we're going to read the labels. We're going to read the labels because on this one, guess what the label says? Cauliflower. Only ingredient, cauliflower. No other stuff. So if you buy something like this, if you buy a pre-done, make sure it doesn't have any other ingredients. So it's what calls for a cup of cauliflower. Okay, great. Cup is good enough. So we'll just put that up to the side. That's good. Woo, look at that. If you don't play with food and have fun with it, it's not worth it. All right, so there's our cauliflower rice. That's about a cup. And again, recipes are for fun. Recipes are suggestions, all right? So let's make sure that we have some fun. But there we go. There's a cup. Yeah, that's about 2 cups. So that's good. So we got the cauliflower rice ready. So what's the next thing we want? Now I'm going to go off the grid a little bit. I'm going to do some broccoli. I like broccoli in my stir fry. So here's some broccoli. And broccoli is kind of an interesting thing, isn't it? It's kind of like a man-made food. So I'm just going to take the florets off the top. Now, a lot of times with broccoli is a good food. It's got a lot of fiber, vitamins, and all those types of things that you think. It's green, so that's always good. But we're just going to chop it up a little bit into some little spots. And it's going to just be a nice texture and color in our stir fry. So we've got white, and we've got this nice green top. Now, when you cook broccoli, guys, if you've never cooked broccoli, one of the things about it is that you can, I'm not going to do it today, but you can take and you can peel this, take rid of the dry cut off and see the moisture that's in there. You can see how nice and moist that's in there. Well, when you have that, you can peel, don't with the knife, you can peel, And the stems are tender and very delicious as well. So we're not going to use that today, but so now I've got my broccoli ready to go. And you know what we're going to do with that? We're just going to go ahead and put that in with our cauliflower rice. Now you can make your own cauliflower rice. I'm just choosing not to do that for time and because it is kind of messy because you start grating that up and it flies everywhere. If you know a secret to make it not fly everywhere, then that's great. I haven't figured that one out yet. So I'm going to take this. There, now we got cauliflower rice. Oh, by the way, cauliflower rice is cauliflower that's been ground up. And see all the little flakes in there? So cauliflower rice is a convenience, and it is a substitute for rice. Now, I'm Filipino, and I know that's sacrilegious to say that. But anyway, we're going to use it because it said cauliflower rice. We're going to make this a little bit differently than using traditional white or brown rice. So we've got that, and this says want some snap peas. All right, so here's some snap peas. And guess what? I looked at the ingredients. Hey, they're snap peas. That's the ingredients. One thing. Yahoo! Because see, there is so much processed food. If we can eat at home, guys, if we can eat at home and prep our own meals, we are light years ahead of the deal. And we can have a healthier life. So it calls for a quarter cup, and this will be about a half cup right there. That's about a cup even. So what we're going to look at to do, when I like to do these, is I like to get rid of the end and then press that through here. You see the strings? Just get that right out. Take that string right away. So you can see there's these strings, see? And you want to get rid of the string. There you go, just like that. And like that. Woohoo! See the fiber? That extra string? We'll get rid of that. There's no reason for it. Now you can do the tear method like this. Pinch and tear. Or you can just take the knife and go, ha. And just take and cut, press right down. And when you press down, if you lift up, it'll come up. Just hold on to it. See how the strings came out? See how those strings came out right there? So you just press down on the end, and then you feel that pinch because you got it pinched, and then you just pull it right out like I just did there. See how that comes up? How nice? See how nice that comes out? Exactly. So that's what we want to do. We're just going to get rid of the strings. You can hear that pull. Hear that? I'm just pulling the strings right off. Hear that? Yep. Hear that little snap and hear that string? See how the strings are coming out? See that string? That's just a snap pea ready to go over to the side. There we go. And hear that? Just how simple that works. Just press down and pull up. Press down and pull up. So you can get rid of the strings, and that way it's not so tough when you eat it. You're not flossing when you eat your food. The peas aren't creating a floss for you. Very simple, very easy. Just tear and pull, press down, and then just lift up. There we go. So yeah, one of the things about eating like this, and all we're doing is just taking what God gave us. We're taking the fiber, because in our processed food, they start taking fiber out of our food. And why the heck did they do that those years ago and continue to do it is because of increased shelf life. Fiber in food, they've realized that fiber decreases the shelf life of a product. And if you want to prove it to yourself, you want to do a little lab experiment, take your white bread, your plain old starchy white bread that you buy, take a piece or a loaf, and by comparison, buy a sprouted grain bread. And just if you want to just truly do an experiment, buy a loaf of each, set them on the shelf, and see which molds first. And it will be the sprouted grain. Why? Because it has all the fiber. Where your starched out one, your bleached flour one, has all the preservatives in there to increase the shelf life. And the shelf life increases profitability for the manufacturer. If it doesn't stay on the shelf that long, then the chance of it going bad and not being sold increase. So that's where the shelf life comes into play. So in place of this fiber, we'll talk about fiber. In place of the fiber, they put in a starch. And you go, well, Villia, what's the big deal about a starch? Who cares? Well, starches turn to sugar in your system faster and higher than natural table sugar does. So we want to look at that. So there's our snap piece. We got that done. We're doing good. Without, I was going to put some mushrooms in. I love mushrooms. And I'm going to put some pepper in there too. All right, so let's take a couple mushrooms. Take a couple mushrooms out. Rinse them off. Get the grow material. How about we just call it the grow material off from the mushrooms? We'll call it grow material, right? I love growing mushrooms. Do you grow mushrooms at all? Have you ever grown mushrooms? Yeah, I love growing mushrooms. I love to grow mushrooms. Let's go over here. There we go. Sorry. I love growing mushrooms. I've grown lion's mane. I've grown all kinds of mushrooms. So when we go here, we're going to cut a mushroom. One of the nice things to do, in this case, now we're doing the stir fry. You see the size of the foods there. I like to go 1, 2, 3, and then come around 1, 2, 3. See how they're nice, even cut across? See how these are nice and across? Yeah. So there's one set through. Let's make another set through, shall we? Let's go right through here. So see how we got this? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. See how we got that nice across? I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See now that's a nice blossom? See how that's such a nice blossom? And let's do one more. Let's do one more. Got them across. That's why you have a good sharp knife. There we go. So now for our stir fry for there we have a cauliflower rice, we have our broccoli, we have our snap peas, and then we have mushrooms on top. Okay, cool. All right, we're doing good on that. Oh, and then we have our beef right there. So the stir fry looks like went out. You know what? Tell you what. Let's put in some pepper. Now I'm going to do stuffed peppers in a little bit, but I've got a fresh garden pepper right here. Look at this, is a beauty. Isn't that a beautiful pepper? Garden fresh. So we're going to use some of it in our stir fry. So I'm going to just go around the top, cut this right around. All right. And see how this comes right out like a cap? Look at that. Isn't that cool? Just All right. And we're going to do some pepper into our stir fry. Open it up. Get out the white spines. Get rid of some seeds. Seeds don't bother me at all. Some of you may have issues with your intestinal integrity in terms of being able to use to eat them. So I'm just going to go across and make some nice long julienne cuts like this. Okay, so now I have nice julienne strips. And then we're just going to go across because this is going to be nice, fresh, flavorful pepper into our stir fry. Sorry about that noise. See how nice that is? Now, I'm not an onion fanatic at all. But in this case, what we're going to use instead of the onion, or instead of the soy sauce, and instead of the minced ginger and garlic, what we're just going to simply go with when we do cook it is just with the Chinese five spice. And this blend has, let's see, look and see what we got. Anise, cinnamon, star anise, clover, ginger. Cool. No sugar. Yay. So we're good with that. So that's going to be our, with our beef, that's going to be our stir fry. We'll cook that in a minute. But I want to prep one more meal for today, because that'll be the lunch. And then the other meal today is a turkey stuffed bell pepper. Now, we've already gone through the fact I don't like turkey. I like turkey meat. I just don't like ground turkey. No, I just don't care for it. It tastes like styrofoam to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute that. We're going to use for our stuff, and I've done this recipe before. We're going to use Italian sausage. And I love Italian sausage. And the Italian sausage we're going to use, excuse me, I'm going to blow my nose, has no sugar. It does have MSG, but it has no sugar. And you may or may not like MSG, and that's fine. Then use turkey or whatever, but this has no sugar. What I'm looking for is no sugar substitute. So to get ready, the first thing I'm going to do is going to start prepping these peppers. Now, I've already done one little baby one, right? Because we just used that over in the stir fry. So I've got one kind of done. But we're going to take and core these out. So these peppers, we're going to just open them up in half. Open it up in half, right? There's one that goes out. Get rid of this piece right there. Because we're making boats, in essence. We're just going to stuff these as boats. I've done these before where you take the top off and you cram it down in there. Yeah, I don't like that so much. I'd rather do these boats. They're much more convenient to eat than trying to wedge the whole thing. So just kind of go through just like that. Open it up. The shell. Open it up like this. You can see there's the seeds and the spine. Just take that out. I'm done. By the way, I'm not throwing this on the floor. I'm doing it into a bin. Okay. So see how that comes out so nice and clean? Same thing here. Take the spine out. Tap out the seeds. See how fast this works? See how this is working right in this baking dish I already have. These are so good. These are fresh out of the garden. So yeah, that's a whole nother animal. So if you can support your local farmer's market or your own yard garden, awesome. If you have to go commercial, I understand that. Look at organic ones as opposed to the rest. But you got to do what you got to do, right? But at least we know we're not doing ultra processed food because we're cooking it. We know our ingredients. Okay. This is a little bit bigger one. Takes a little bit more time. Take care. Oh, they smell so delicious. Oh my gosh, I love it. Now, these are bell peppers. They're not poblano peppers. I love stuffed poblanos. I love poblanos. You know, the chili relleno. I love the chili relleno. In fact, that's one of my favorite dishes at a Mexican restaurant. I'm disappointed if they don't have a chili relleno. All right, there we go. All right, a little brown right there. I'll just get rid of that discoloration. No problem. No problem at all. And here's the last one. How are we doing? We doing okay? We doing okay, everybody? Perfect. So here is the last one. And see, these are really going to be the little boats, the nest, if you will, for holding our stuffing, which we're going to work on creating now. And so we really had very, very, very minimal waste. Now we have a pan full and ready to be stuffed. So now we're going to work on the stuffing. Does that make sense? See how that's all is ready to go? See how that is? Okay. So that sets off to the side. Because again, guys, we're doing 2 meals, 2 meal preps. The stuffed peppers are actually going to have tonight for dinner. So I'm just getting these ready to be made. But I will do the sausage in a minute. So what else is going to go in to our filler? Oh, and by the way, one thing I want to talk about real quick is one of the reasons we're actually doing this challenge is because we find that people that have metabolic challenges, and the reason they do is because we're eating too often. See, we're just simply eating too often. We didn't eat every time every 2 hours. Have you been told that you need to eat every 2 hours to maintain your metabolism? Yeah, that's farcical. All it does is creates an issue where your insulin will spike and then crash, and spike and crash, and spike and crash, and spike and crash. So the problem is where we have the issue is, one, people are eating too often. Not just what they eat, but how often we're eating. And we do that, we never let our insulin have a chance to come back down. So what you want to do, the best thing for us is to what? Not eat as often. So for free, you want to know how you can improve your health, your metabolic life for yourself, your family, your children. Stop snacking. Now, you may say, I got to snack. No, you don't. But if you do absolutely have to, let's look at this. Consider this. It's football season, right? And it's the end for a field goal goes to the goalpost, right? The goalpost. It goes goal, right? So if you do that, look at this. Consider, and this is free advice, consider having 2 meals. 2 meals, and do your snacking and all your goofy drinks and everything else between the goalposts. If you can do that, if you can manage, and you can, and there's things you can do to assist this and aids that you can use to help make this work. Have 2 meals. 2 meals, no snacks except for between the goalposts. Why? Think about it. If I only have two posts, right, then the glucose and insulin won't have to come up until here, will it? It won't have to come up until after I eat. And it's going to go down faster because I'm not going to snack after on the other side. So if I'm on either side of the goalpost, I'm out of bounds. That's a penalty. I can't play. I'm out of the game. All right? And what's the penalty? Is your health. The penalty is the chaos and stress that it goes on inside our gut, inside of our bodies, because we're eating all the time. Hormone is insulin. Insulin is a hormone. It has 100 different functions. Okay? One of them is to work with the cells to get the glucose into them. Very, very simple. But if you're doing this all the time, The cells get full. Now what did it do? I mean, insulin doesn't throw it back out your mouth. It has to find another place for it to go. And then if it does, it's going to look like this. Now, this is what I've looked like. I've been fat, sick, and nearly dead. And now I have a 28-inch waist. We'll talk about that story in a minute. I follow this protocol. I'm following exactly this idea that I'm telling you about. Set 2 goalposts and eat and dine and do all that in between, but nothing before and nothing after. And sometimes people say, well, but I need to. No, you don't. Let me ask you this. Will you say you get up at 6 or 7 and you grab a bowl of oatmeal or muffins or Daisy Q or Lego or whatever it is that you snag on, or you drive through and get your breakfast sandwich or chicken, whatever. I don't really care what it is. Or even if you take a pill, you take medication. First thing in the morning, you break your fast. You break your fast because when you went to sleep, you started what? When you went to sleep, you did not eat, did you? You didn't eat while you were sleeping. Most of us don't get up and have a dagwood. Most of you don't even know what that is. I'm 73, so I know what a dagwood is. But you sleep all night and you don't get up and grab anything to eat. So what I call, you are doing a sleep fast. Does that make sense? You're doing a sleep fast this whole time. You're sleeping and you're not eating, so that's really a fast. Well, what happens is after your last meal, whether that was that ice cream that you had or that popcorn or just that little Debbie snack or that little almond or that little pretzel, whatever that was, that tea with cream in it, whatever that was, it takes 2 to 4 hours before all of that rest of that glucose goes somewhere. Now, after that, you are now sleep fasting. Follow me that? Semantic is your sleep fasting. And when you're sleep fasting, you're now beginning to what? Burn fat. Now, do you want to burn fat? Most people do. Most people want to lose weight, right? And to do that, you need to burn your fat, not the sugar. This is sugar burning. All the way through this is all sugar burning. You are not losing an ounce. You're not losing any weight at all. You're simply burning the sugar that you just ate, and some from yesterday probably. So we want to get the goalpost idea. If you understand the goalpost idea, you're going to succeed quickly. So now you're sleep fasting, right? Now when we come around, we're sleep fasting. Do you want to stop? Do you want to stop burning your fat or not? You don't want to stop burning it, do you? You want to go as long with that fat burning as you can, because you cannot have fat burning going on at the same time that you have sugar burning. There are 2 different fuel sources. 2 different fuel sources. All right? And so what happens is the longer you can wait, the more fat you'll burn. Then when you break your fast with whatever that first meal is, good, it's right there. Now you have a window between the goalposts, maybe from 11 to 6, maybe from 12 to 7. Somewhere you have a space that you're between the goalposts. Go ahead and have your meal. Eat your snacks, get your drinks, whatever those things happen to be. It's going to be between the goalposts, not outside the goalposts. Does that make some sense? I hope so. Now, some people say, well, George, I have to eat. I'll die if I don't. No, you won't. But let me ask you this. Let's just argue for sake of argument. Let's say every day you get up Monday through Friday, you're up at 7 or 6, and you have your breakfast, whatever you're breaking your fast with at 7. Now it's Saturday. It's Sunday. You sleep in till 8. Did you get up at 6 to eat breakfast and go back to bed? That's a rather ridiculous idea, isn't it? Of course you didn't. Did you die? No. So don't be so silly. Don't be so short-sighted as to think that because you don't need to fast. breakfast at 6 or 7. You can wait. And if you want to have a little bit of help, we can help you a little bit of willpower to get past that point. It's possible. It's easy. We'll talk about that. So let's look at doing and managing our intake. That's all I'm going to say. So let's keep going here. Let's keep working on our stuffed peppers. The next thing it says is some diced tomatoes, no salt. Now, I could have bought a can of tomatoes. Okay? Tomatoes, tomato sauce, pieces of sauce. You can do all kinds of things. You guys, and again, we're having fun. You can play with your ingredients. You could use a pizza sauce here. You could use a tomato sauce here. You could use a spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce. I'm going to actually use real tomatoes. Now, the ones I'm going to use will be Romas. Now, Roma tomatoes, Roma tomato. I know Filipino. What's a Filipino talking about? Anyway, a Roma tomato is a firmer tomato, and they are really great for sauces as opposed to making a juicy soup because they're not as juicy, if you will. All right? So let me grab a little bowl here, a little cup. And so now we're going to go ahead and do the prep on the tomatoes because it says half a cup. I'm going to make this probably a cup. So I take off the one end. I like to go across. I like to go right through the middle. Scale it right down. Go one more time. See this? See how we got it right, nice like that? And maybe go one more time on this one. Go a long ways. And then look at this. Just go right across. See how that goes? They're nice and diced. Now, if you want to make it so that it's not as juicy, all you do is take out the spine and you just get rid of that. And really all you now you have is the flesh. See how this is really just the flesh? Just like that. So that's the dice. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave it that way. So I'm going to use the. I'm going to go ahead and use the juice that I can get out of it. There's no problem not to. These are fresh out of the garden too, so they're really nice. They're juicy as yesterday and tomorrow. And this is BLT season. I know that's a crazy thing, but you know, you can get sugar-free bacon. You can get sugar-free bacon. You can use a sprouted bread, so it has no starches, no sugars. Very simple. You can find it. Now, most of the shopping I'm doing for this 6-week program is at Aldi's. And that's a chain. And Aldi's used to be a store that people would stub their nose at. And, you know, Aldi's. Guys, they have so many organic products that is wonderful. And then every Wednesday is the day you want to go because that's when they have all the crazy walk of shame things, the things you didn't know that you actually needed. I can tell you that it's always kind of a fun thing. The things you can find at all. Now, Aldi's is a international. They're German based in Illinois. Their headquarters is in Batavia, Illinois. And by the way, I'm in Illinois. And so here we go. So see, you have these. We're dicing our own tomatoes, nice and fresh. Our own tomatoes. I think I'll just do this one more. Whoopsie. There we go. Also got that down the event there. That wouldn't have been fun. But you see how, and see how important it is to have a sharp knife? See, it takes no effort to do that. I won't do this one. It's called for half a cup, and I've got a whole cup. That's good. That's going to our peppers. I'm going to put that over here because I've got the stir fry over there. Okay, clean this up a little bit. All right, what else is going to go in there? Oh, zucchini. About a quarter cup of zucchini dice. Hey, good. Look, I get to do some zucchini dicing. How much fun is that? All right, zucchini. Again, oh, these are Canadian. Hey, Arlie, I got Canadian zucchini. Oh, cool. And how much zucchini do I need? Does it say? It says about a quarter cup. Well, there we're going to be generous. We're going to use more than a quarter cup, aren't we? We're going about that much. That looks good. Oh, look how pretty that is. That's a good one. All right, let's go there. Nice. Okay, got them sliced. Let's go this way. Looks like a cup, doesn't it? A quarter cup. You boy, that is a quarter cup for sure. Let's throw that in with the tomatoes, the diced tomatoes. All right, so we got that right there. How are we doing? How are we doing on time? We're doing good? Oh, yeah. All right, perfect. Perfect. Okay, what's the next thing it says? Oh, it wants us to do some mozzarella cheese and some Italian seasoning. All right. Good. We're up to the seasoning world. Oh, for cheese? Okay, let's do that. Let's get that out. And then I'm going to start cooking the things that need to cook. Oops. I'll be right with you guys. Hang on. How much mozzarella does it want? About a quarter cup. Okay. That looks like that'll be a quarter cup. If you can, guys, we're going to go with the grater data, right? Because then you don't have the fillers. That cellulose filler? That cellulose filler could be as simple as corn cobs, but then again, were those corn cobs GMO corn? What was the source of those cobs that were used to create that? So there is a good quarter cup of fresh shredded mozzarella cheese. Much better for you. Much better because now I don't have any concern for any other ingredient other than the cheese and I cut my fingers out of the way so there's no other meat involved. All right, look at that. Yay. So there we are. We've got our cheese done. Oh, we got a little bit more in here. Let's turn that way. All right. Yeah. I love it. All right. Cool. Perfect. I've done pretty well I haven't been snacking on any of this stuff yet. So before I start playing with eating some of this stuff as I get ready to start cooking, what I'm going to do is we're going to talk for a quick second about the order of food. So we've talked about how the glycemic index works for us. So eating fats first and fiber. See all the fiber here? So we want to eat if we can, we want to eat our fiber first and then our fats and then if we have wish, there could be some carbs. But see, we really aren't laying out any of those. And so we keep our food lower, our load lower inside of our body. But the one thing we want is we're missing this fiber. We're missing fiber from our diet. So I take a supplement. I'm going to do that right now because I do that first, but I got to fix this. This is I take a product to increase my lean muscle mass, a creatine HB. It's called Stronghold, but I'm up to 30%. I'm 73, and I'm now up to 30% body fat. Yeah, at 73. I did suffer from sarcopenia. I was going to tell you some of my history. Last year, I participated fully in the modern day food environment. And by the way, this is a fiber supplement that I take called Balance. It's patented. It's in the prescriber's digital reference. It's in Health Canada. It has 4 patents on it and over 20 clinically reviewed studies. But look at, I'll just pour it in here. Look at how thick that is. You see how thick this is? See how thick that is? I'll show you. Look at that. How quick that turns. So this is a blend of fibers, soluble and insoluble. Wow, those are fancy words, Villia. What's that mean? Soluble and there's 2 kinds of fibers. And insoluble. In other words, it doesn't dissolve, if you will, is a broom. It helps keep your gluten pooping. Okay? So that's what that does. And it goes along and slows down the digestive process. And slowing it down, but it keeps it moving, but at a slower rate, which allows the lower arc on right here. It allows that lower arc right there. It keeps the spike down. It keeps the spike down. And the soluble is like a gel. That's just, when I pull this up, you see how it's a gel? See how that goes? See that gelatinous? That's the soluble fiber. That's the fiber that digests itself, that turns to a gel. That's good. And that will coat the food as it goes through, which again does what? Slows down the absorption, which slows down the glucose spike, and it lasts longer. So it's good to have that ability to have a product where you're adding fiber in, because remember, they took fiber out of our diets. And that's where you see all the starches, and starches are fillers. Starches are simply fillers. So I'm going to finish this little cup here, and then we'll start cooking. Isn't that great? That's the berry flavor. That's really good. See? Oh, that's good. All right. So now let's start cooking. So now the first thing I'm going to start, I'm going to end up doing both of them at the same time so I can end on time, is I'm going to be doing the stir fry. Let's just do that real quick right here. So we're going to put that right on this burner. Right there. And on the burner for the oil, just going to use some avocado oil. Just a little avocado oil. I like avocado oil. I like it a lot. Some people like coconut oil. Some people like extra virgin olive oil. Single source, though, guys, because they're starting to cheat. Sorry to say that, but they're starting to cheat for profit. And we already know that our steak has already been cooked, so I'm not too worried about that. So we're going to get this going, and we're going to throw in our veggies in here. Okay, remember, this is our cauliflower rice. Our cauliflower rice, our peas, our broccoli, right? And our mushrooms. So for that, I'm just going to put on the lid for a minute and let it kind of get soft as it goes. And then we'll throw in the meat next, okay? On the peppers, we're going to use our other burner. And here what we're going to do is we're going to do our sausage. And this is that Italian sausage I told you about that doesn't have any sugar in it, doesn't have any oddball stuff. It does have MSG, but MSG has a zero effect on the glycemic index. What's the glycemic index? Well, glycemic index is something you need to be aware of because, guys, it's not fat that makes you fat. It's sugar. Sugar is the culprit. It's not fat. Fat is great. It's satisfying. Satiety is a word, big word that people like to use when they like to throw around fancy words. But fat is fulfilling. It's wonderful. It's natural. And you like fat. Okay? So we've got that going right here. So we're going to get this sausage going. All right. I love this. Is a great sausage, by the way. I really like this one. So we get it going. We get our stir fry going over here. Just starting to warm up. Okay. Get this, because this belongs to the peppers. The peppers over here. You guys over there. Oh, yeah. Starting to cook. Hear that? We're just going to let the vegetables soften up a little bit. Because this takes nothing. Because the vegetables just need to tenderize a smidge. I don't have the walkout just because I wanted to show it a little bit easier so you could see in the pans. Cool. And then, so what we're talking about, guys, is if we can go along and keep our fat burning, like we told you about, eat inside these goalposts, eat inside the goalpost, then you have, guess what? You do your fiber, your fat, your protein, your carbs. Now you eat within the goalpost. You can get the fat burning on both sides of the goalpost. Think about it that way. Instead of snacking all those times, snack, eat, and keeping the insulin high, which is making you fat because you're eating all the time. It's not how many carbs or calories. That's how often you're doing it to yourself. So if we can go here and eat within the goalpost, think about that. Success. If we eat in the order of fat, fiber, protein, fiber, fat, protein, carb, we win. Here's a meal that I did. And you can see there's my cup with my balance, my fiber. That's what this is called. The balance is the fiber, that fiber matrix. In this bowl was a salad, which is fiber. It was spinach. It was avocado, walnuts, and cottage cheese for the dressing. That was what? Fiber, fiber, fat, fat. Ta-da. And then here, grilled chicken. No sauces, grilled flavored chicken. No sugars, grilled flavored chicken. And a tomato, garden fresh tomato from right over there, which is what? Fiber. And yes, there's some carb because tomatoes are a fruit. Never forget that. It is actually a fruit. So it is that as well. But think of how this got pulled together. Think how that got pulled together. And that's what we're doing here. All right. We got this gone. Now throw in our meat. How's that looking? Huh? Pretty good, eh? Pretty good, eh? Sorry, Arlie. Jenny. Those are some of our Canadian friends. And then for seasoning here, of course you won't be able to smell it, but the season here we're going to use a Chinese spice. And this is going to give it that wonderful additional spice smell. Oh my God, that's good. Look at that. See how that's easy to go? So there you have it. There is the stir fry. Now let's get over here to my stuffed peppers, which I'm working on. And we're working on the sausage. I should have started this earlier. But what will happen is and we'll be done here at 1. I'll turn off. But I'm going to have this set up so that when I get the sausage done, then I'm going to mix the vegetables in. And our vegetables are what? Well, that's the tomato and zucchini, right? The tomato and the zucchini. And we're going to put the cheese. And that's this Italian sausage, the zucchini. Oh, and the mushrooms. I got to choose some mushrooms in there too. I always do mushrooms. I just cut those off camera. And that will be blended. And I'll put a picture up on. I'll put a picture out there that you can see as to how we did this. Okay? I'll be back on Wednesday. And Wednesday's menu, we're going to be looking at doing a taco salad. And for that, I'm going to use a chorizo, amazing chorizo, for our taco salad. And I'm going to look to do another veggie dish with and probably chicken. So we'll have another conglomeration of 2 meals. I'll prep them both, and we'll be ready to go. So thank you very much for dropping in today. Thank you for hanging with me. I appreciate it. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. If you want to find out anything about the protocol that I'm using that fixed my body, that got me from Mr. Belly so big to a 28-inch waist, just drop a question in the chat. If you're on the protocol, congratulations. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and get me, okay? So thank you very much. Have a great day. Come around and turn you off.